It's kind of funny. Last week, I was watching a YouTube video of this famous um, guru and yogi, and he was talking about the importance of having a teacher. And the example he used was, you know, when you learned your ABCs when you were a kid, that's something technically you could have learned on your own, unaided, and it would have taken you a really long time. But if you work with a teacher, it can shorten that learning curve and help you be more effective more quickly. And that really resonated with me. Hi, my name's Laban Cook, and I live in Denver, Colorado in the US. And this is a little bit about my journey working with Johnny Landels and Next Step Nutrition on my weight loss and health and fitness journey. So, as a bit of background, I grew up on a farm. No doubt I had a poor relationship with food. I had no exercise habits. Um, but when I went to university, that really exposed those, that lack of exercise and poor nutrition, and it had been covered over for years just because of the sheer amount of manual labor I was doing. But post university, it really reinforced a few things. One, I think partly I was told as a child that I was a big kid, and I think that unconsciously developed a certain complex, and it became part of the story I told myself. So as an adult, I told myself that, basically I'm a fat person, as harsh as that sounds. I'm not a person who exercises. I don't do that. And obviously the stories we tell ourselves are incredibly important because it becomes reality. And I made numerous attempts at weight loss, and they were definitely effective in the short term. But I always gained weight again, and life circumstances changing, stress changing, social activities, and the constant pull of having hanging out with friends, and personal and business travel, all were triggers in derailing me, or in my mind kind of falling off the wagon. And I always gained weight again. Um, so at some point, I even hired a personal trainer, and I thought, I'm going to exercise. So I'm going to get comfortable. I'm not comfortable in the gym. I don't know what to do. So I'm going to hire a personal trainer. So this was part of my journey on at least understanding that I needed a teacher, to use another word for trainer. But as we know, you can't out train a bad diet, and so I didn't lose weight then, and I've tried numerous diets before and after. I've avoided carbs, I've avoided fruit. I've gone all sorts of sort of fanatical, semi-Spartan, ultra-disciplined, short bursts of activity, which were always successful in the short term, but never sustainable and never successful in the long term. So my breakthrough came about when, as a result of professional leadership coaching, I realized the value of mindset, of habit formation, and the importance of making very small, almost insignificant changes over a very long period of time. And so I met Johnny while exercising at the local gym. And I think, sort of from an unconscious perspective, I mentally distinguished him as being an elite athlete who was probably unlikely to identify with me, because I didn't feel like an athlete. I didn't feel like I belonged in the gym. And I probably had a certain amount of imposter syndrome. And over time, I realized that in his own story and his own journey, he had managed his own struggle with mindset, with body image, and with relationship with food. And so there was a certain connection that was meaningful. And I also realized that Johnny and Next Step Nutrition really embodied similar philosophies that I'd encountered in my professional development. So growth mindset, aligning behaviors and habits, developing a healthy relationship with food, and the importance of making small changes over a long period of time. And I think it sort of helped that from a stylistic perspective, he brought levity into the conversation. He famously had a meme holding a pint of beer that says, if your diet doesn't allow you to have beer, you don't have a diet, you have a prison sentence. And that's real life. And so from a process perspective, I started working with Johnny in January of 2020. And at the time, I weighed around 245 pounds, or 111 kilos for all of you normal folks out there. And Johnny understood that my goals were weight loss, obviously, improved health, and better flexibility. I'm struck by the people that are 20, 30, 40 years older than me that seem to be happy and vibrant and are able to explore the world tend to be people who have appropriate weight, are healthy, and that certainly was sort of my role model, so to speak. So we primarily focused on flexible mindset, self-compassion, the idea that there are no bad foods, and he really helped me increase my fitness by designing a workout plan that complemented my nutrition plan. He provided some easy tips for eating lunch out. That was a very practical day-to-day trigger for me in a busy work environment of end up, derailing myself with food choices that weren't helping me maintain a calorie deficit. He helped me develop sustainable habits where I could eat out with friends, where I could enjoy a beer or three and continue to maintain a calorie deficit. Now, notice that nowhere in that did I talk about weight. And humorously, even though I weighed myself every single day and had a good sense of what my trends were, that wasn't the anchor of our conversation. It was all around the mindset, the behaviors, and the habits. And ultimately, obviously, those things result in reduced weight. Now, then the pandemic happened. And in any other year of my life, had that happened, I would have been completely psychologically derailed. Whatever plan I had been on would go out the window. Far from even maintaining weight, there's no doubt in my mind that I would have gained weight. It could have easily been 10, 20 or more pounds. And so he changed my workout plan so I could very easily work out at home with just the very, very simple basic equipment that I had. So that was kind of the process, but how did that all work out? So here we are a year and a half later. I've developed a much healthier relationship with food. I see myself as a fit, healthy person who enjoys exercising and even enjoy, unbelievably to me, buying clothes, because I'm buying smaller clothes and I feel like I'm shopping where I always saw, quote, normal people shopping. I've developed an entire collection of behaviors and habits that work together unconsciously, and it's almost muscle memory now that I don't consciously think about what I'm doing during the day. I don't count calories, I don't track food, I don't obsess about strict, non-sustainable food selection. And bizarrely, it occurred to me last night, I feel completely unconstrained by how much food I want to eat or having beer with friends. I don't think at all during those moments about limiting myself or somehow I'm doing a thing or I'm being disciplined. It's just a natural byproduct of everything we've worked on. I no longer stress about big social events or traveling, which would historically have completely derailed me. And I've lost 50 pounds. And not only have I lost 50 pounds, but I've achieved my goal weight. And now I just looked at my trends. I've maintained a plus or minus 3 pound weight for several months now. And I no longer stress about somehow falling off the wagon or stepping on the scale someday and completely unraveling. And so, I've been on a journey where I now realize that happiness and confidence comes from intrinsic self-worth. And I believe that my success in working with Johnny in his one-to-one program has contributed to a legitimate, internally derived sense of accomplishment, personal satisfaction, and a sense of happiness that positively affects all aspects of my life. Thank you.